Hello everybody. This is a quick tutorial over a somewhat complicated topic with printing. I don't usually go over this, but since I'm making videos, I figure I might as well mention it uh, if in case you wanted to use it. Now, whenever we display things, we can display stuff using the system.out.print and print line, which we've gone over already. We can also use the EG option pane. And both of those are perfectly fine. Now, if you wanted just some extra options, for example, uh, to do a little bit more complicated stuff, you can use something called Printf. Now, I've gone ahead and already made a project. If you don't remember how to do that, remember it's File, New Project, Next, name it, make sure it's saved to the right place, and get rid of this second thing up to the little period here. And finish. And you should have a nice little template. Now I've gone ahead and typed in everything that I need right now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo it as we go down and I go through it. Because printf's actually a lot more complicated than the other prints. But I figure you might want to have another option in case you want to try it. Now, first off, you just need your main, make a few spaces, make a few comments at the end. All this other stuff, don't worry about it just yet. Now, first and foremost, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make a little variable here, string data, and I'm going to put hello world in it. And what we're going to do is we're going to print that using the system.out.printf. So not print line, not print, but printf. And this is basically print format. Now, here's how it works. I have a print statement here, and it says printing a string, and there's a little space. And then you see this little percentage %s. Now, and forward slash, or I guess it's backslash n. Backslash n is a new line. It just means go to the next line. Printf doesn't automatically move to the next line, so you usually have to have this at the end. Now, the percentage %s is basically telling it to print a string. The lowercase s means lowercase letters. Hello world. Uh, and the string I'm going to print is data, this little comma here. So what this does, I will run it. Take a look down here. Printing a string, hello world. So what it's printing is data, and it's going to print it in this little spot there. But it's not too complicated for that. Well, let's say we use an uppercase s instead of the lowercase s. Let's note the difference. Capital letters instead of lowercase. So it allows me to kind of format that however I want. Now it works the exact same way. I'm printing, and you can type this out, play with it. I would encourage you. Do a few Google for the little commands. I'm going to go through a good portion of them here, but there's still others. Now whatever I put here is going to print. In this case I have a variable. Could I put in fuzzy pickles instead? Sure. It doesn't have to be a variable there. It can be a string if you wanted it to be. It just doesn't make any sense to put a string there, honestly, because you could just put it there instead. This is mostly used for those variables. You ask somebody their name, you save it. You ask somebody their age, and you save it. That's what this is typically used for. Now, we get into our numbers. I make a little variable, and I'm going to hit Alt-Shift-F to line these up nice and pretty. Now I've got a variable here, x, 10,009. I'm going to printf, and percentage %d means decimal integer, basically. So basically it's going to print an integer. And x is the name of that. So I'm sure if you can guess what happened up there, you can guess it's probably going to say printing a decimal integer 10,009, right? Take a look, and yeah, that's exactly what it did. Now, we could also do it for float, %f. And that is %f. And it works exactly the same way, floating point number. Now a double also fits into that %f. It's actually a %f works for both double and float. As you can see, it gave me a couple extra numbers there, though, as you can see. Actually, I don't know what happens if I make this a little bit bigger. Let's see. I may break it. No, it worked. Somewhat. There we go, 2, 2. It just printed it. Looks like it just printed it for the uh, float references. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It didn't go any farther than that. There may be another way. I haven't really played with it a lot. But this will print at least up to the first couple of numbers, which is more than enough for what we need. But I might be a little more specific one that allows you to print longer numbers. Now all of this shouldn't be too difficult. When it gets difficult is when we start throwing in dates and multiple things. Now I'm not going to ask any of you to do this. You don't have to. But if you want to play with it, want to learn how it works, there are plenty of cases where this is actually kind of nice to use. Now for this portion, I'm going to use a date. Now at the top of my screen, I've imported java util.date so we can actually create dates and use them. So that should be at the very top. And then I just create a date. And that's pretty much going to be today's date. And I print. Printing current date and time. So, %TC. We take a quick look. And what do we get? We get Friday, May 29th, 2049.54. That's the current date when I'm doing this. We scroll back up. So that'll print that entire line, all of that information. Now if I want to print just the day or just the year or something like that, due date 29/2020. And that would be this, what you see right here. TD, which is day, T capital Y, which is the year. And it'll put it in this one variable format here. Now I could also print multiple things all at once. We've got data, which we did way up here, the hello world. We've got X, which is at 10,009. We've got the date, which we just made. And I can just simply notice %S, which means capital hello world. We got %D, which I think should be day. And we got T capital A. Let's take a quick look at that. The day of the week. So there we are. Oh, actually, %D is the number. Sorry, decimal. TA is the day. Now, hello world, and it printed them in that order, you see. 1, 2, 3, and it formats them in whatever format you ask for. And there's a couple other things. Just Google printf Java, and you should be able to find a lot of examples you can play with. I would encourage you to try a couple of things out. Now again, this is a bit more complicated than what you really need to do all the time. Usually system.out, print line, or print, or even the J option pane are more than enough to do anything you're going to need to do. But if you just want a couple of extra options, you could use the printfs like that. Alright, well I hope you enjoyed that. Feel free to play around with it. The only way you're going to learn is just surfing YouTube, surfing the internet, finding other examples and plugging them in, trying a couple of different things. Maybe you break it. Maybe you fix it. Maybe you learn something you didn't know, hopefully. But by all means, play with it, give it a try, and if you don't like it, then don't use it. Use one of the other options.